All right, let's get right into it. We're diving into one of the biggest, most intense debates of our time, the future of artificial intelligence. You've probably heard it, right? On one side, you have some of the smartest people on the planet who are absolutely terrified of it. And on the other, you have equally brilliant people who think all that fear is, well, just ridiculous. So we're going to get to the bottom of that.
So what is going on here? Seriously. How can these super intelligent people look at the exact same thing and see either, a perfect utopia or a complete apocalypse? Well, it turns out the answer isn't really about the technology itself. It's about us. According to author Byron Reese, this whole firestorm is just the latest chapter in a story we've been living for thousands of years, humanity's relationship with game-changing inventions. And to really get where we're going, you gotta see where we've been. Human history can basically be broken down into three great ages, and each one was kicked off by a revolutionary technology. First up, you had fire and language. That unlocked our brains. Then came agriculture and cities, which basically created civilization as we know it. And finally, the wheel and writing. That let us outsource our memory and, conquer distance. Now here's the key takeaway from all that. Each of these revolutions didn't just change our tools, it fundamentally changed who we were. And that brings us to right now. We are living in what Reese calls the fourth age, an era completely defined by AI and robotics. But here's the thing. This time, it's different. Like, really different. While those other revolutions took thousands of years to unfold, this one is happening at an insane, exponential speed.
The engine driving all of this is something you've probably heard of, Moore's Law. It's this simple observation that computing power roughly doubles every 2 years. Just think about that for a second. For decades, this trend has just kept going, relentlessly, taking us from these giant, clunky calculators to the supercomputers we all carry around in our pockets. It's an exponential curve, and we are right on the steep part of it.
To really wrap your head around the power of exponential growth, you have to hear the old chessboard parable. So the story goes, an ancient emperor offers the inventor of chess any reward he wants. The inventor says, okay, simple. Just put 1 grain of rice on the first square of the chessboard, 2 on the second, 4 on the third, and just keep doubling it for all 64 squares. The emperor, he laughs, he thinks it's a tiny price. But by the time you get to that second half of the chessboard, the amount of rice he owes is more than has ever been grown in the entire history of the world. That's where we are with AI. We're stepping onto that second half of the board, where the numbers just become, well, almost unimaginable. And this incredible exponential pace, it brings us right to the heart of the whole AI debate. Because it turns out the big disagreement, it's not actually about the technology at all. It's about philosophy. The whole thing is really a proxy war for a much older, much deeper debate about what it even means to be human. Where you land on AI, whether you're an optimist or a pessimist, it all comes down to your answers to 3 very, very deep questions. Okay, question number 1. And this one gets right to the very core of our existence. What are we made of? I mean, at the most basic level, are we just incredibly complex biological machines? Or is there something more to us? Your answer probably puts you in one of 2 ancient camps. On one side, you've got what's called monism. This is the idea that the entire universe is made of just one thing, matter, atoms. And from this viewpoint, our minds are simply what our physical brains do. It's all biology. On the other side, you have dualism. This is the belief that there's matter and there's something else. Call it a spirit, a soul, a consciousness that's separate from or more than just the brain. All right, so if the first question is about our substance, the second one is really about our status. What are we exactly? Are we just another type of machine, a really fancy one? Are we just the cleverest animal on the planet? Or is there some kind of unique spark? Something that truly separates humanity from everything else on Earth. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most personal question of all. What is the self? I mean, what makes you, you? Is it your physical body? I mean, think about the old ship of Theseus paradox. If you replace every single plank of wood on a ship over time, is it still the same ship? Your body's cells are constantly being replaced.
So maybe it's your memories? But what if those could be copied and uploaded? Or is your self something totally non-physical, something like a soul? This isn't just a late-night dorm room question. It's the absolute key to whether you believe a machine could ever truly become you.
Okay, so now let's take this philosophical framework and see how it plays out in the real world. Because your answers to those three big questions, they directly shape what you believe is going to happen in one of the hottest, most contentious parts of the whole AI debate, the future of our jobs.
So back in 2013, a now famous study from Oxford University dropped a bombshell number that still gets talked about constantly. It found that 47% of all jobs in the United States were susceptible to automation. And as you can imagine, the headlines just went wild. They were predicting this imminent robo-apocalypse for workers everywhere. But, and this is a huge but, here's what nearly everyone missed in all the panic. The authors of the study themselves made it super clear that they were not predicting how many jobs would be lost. They were just identifying which tasks within those jobs could, theoretically, be automated. And that is a massive difference, right? So the real question isn't what's possible for a machine to do, but what's actually plausible in the real world.
And this leads us to three totally different possibilities for the future. Possibility one, machines take all the jobs. If you're a monist, right, and you think we're just complex machines, then it's basically inevitable that we'll eventually build better ones that can do everything. Possibility two, machines take some of the jobs, but not all, creating this permanent state of unemployment for a lot of people. Or possibility three, the same pattern we've seen for centuries holds true, and technology ends up creating more new jobs than it destroys. If you believe humans have some kind of unique, non-replicable spark, a more dualist view, you'll probably bet on this future. Do you see it now? The entire super fierce debate about jobs, it's just a proxy war for what we believe about ourselves.
You know, back in 1990, way out at the edge of our solar system, the Voyager 1 spacecraft turned its camera around one last time and took a picture of home. From 6 billion kilometers away, our entire world was just a single pale blue dot. And this image, it just so brilliantly captures our current moment. As we stand here at the dawn of this fourth age, building machines that challenge our very place in the universe, we're being forced to look back at that lonely speck of dust and ask, who are we really?
So in the end, this whole AI debate, it's really just a mirror. It forces us to ask what we truly believe about our own nature. The future we end up building won't be determined by our code or our algorithms. It'll be determined by our answer to that fundamental question. The choices we make right now, today, are going to define this fourth age and set the stage for whatever comes next. The fourth age is here. The only question left is what will the fifth age bring?